You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast. Apologies for being a little late this morning, but we were both taken out of action by an uncontrollable bout of laughter. The British BGT, you know, Ross. Every time I see it, I want to say Britain's Got Talent, and I was about to say the Britain's Got Talent has been retained by India, but that isn't what's happened. The Border Gavaskar Trophy has been retained by India. Australia have reached peak humiliation. We're very happy. I'm Jack. That is Ross. How you doing, Ross? Together again?
Oh, good, mate. Yeah, together again. Max is phoning in as always. I think he's on holiday in Madrid, living it up. But yeah, I've got cricket this afternoon, Jack. So
Yeah.
hence the ideal CC gear.
You're in your kit. You looking forward to that's your first net of the year?
No, second. First one, I couldn't move my feet when I was batting, and it was duly clean bowled twice. The stump came out of the ground. So that's the barometer for success today. Do not get bowled twice. So we'll see.
That's good. Let's get straight into it. Ross, what happened?
Well, Australia fans, it's the hope that kills you. You went into today in a position of strength and duly wet your pants on the biggest stage. We said yesterday that Australia had a collapse in them, but this was something else entirely. A bit of low bounce, not prodigious turn, but enough turn to cause a bit of danger, and you completely ruined whatever like good things were said about you in the last 24 hours. It was hopeless. The sweep shot came out and it should have been put away. Clearly should have been put away. I think like 4 or 5 batsmen were bowled playing the sweep shot or the reverse sweep shot. India then came out with just like, this isn't that bad to bat on, and we're duly smashing 6s, 4s coming down the track. Like it really was a masterclass from Rohit Sharma, Pujara, et al. On how to actually play on these pitches. And yeah, Australia, for all the bluster, they've got nothing else to blame but themselves.
It's they've been completely owned, haven't they? And they've been completely owned by India for like 10 years now. I don't know why we thought yesterday when we were on the pod, I think we said it was 50-50. We did say Australia might have a collapse in them. But I think most people thought they had a decent chance. I think our precise words were, if Head bats for an hour in the morning, then they're going to win this test. I think he last 4 balls, 5 balls. And he looked like one of the best players, to be honest, for those 5 balls. It was, he hit a boundary. That was about 10% of the runs. It doesn't really get more humiliating than that. Like, you get yourself into a position. You don't get many chances where you can put yourself. You don't get many shots at like era-defining victories. I think if you're a cricket team, like if you're Australia, I think most people would say that they're a good team that haven't achieved maybe what their amount of talent. They maybe haven't lived up to their potential. This was an opportunity to put a statement win on the record. Go to India, win on a real turner.
Bounce back from last test match's humiliation.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we like talking about the bell curve of probabilities, don't we, on this show? Where at the beginning of the day, probably a score of about 200 was what the most likely outcome. They're still not going to put up big runs. Still only averaging like 16 per fall of wicket, but it was a really difficult pitch, 2 good spin bowlers. That would have represented an average performance, I think. To be 52 for 9, basically. Well, no, not basically, that's the fact. They were 52 for 9 today. That I think is right on the fringes of how bad they could have been. If they played this test 1,000 times, I think 52 for 9 might be their worst go at this morning. Like it's
what did they
heroic.
Have for breakfast?
It's heroic.
This is what I want to know. What did they have for breakfast? Like yesterday, they played really well. Like Jenny was just like they've understood how to win in India, and all it was that this is Test match cricket. You've got to play more than one day. India had a bit of an off day, bit of complacency yesterday. Today they came out and Rohit Sharma led brilliantly, I thought. And it always helps when you've got someone like Ravi Jadeja in your side. But it was just embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing.
Oh,
We talk about some of the embarrassments.
Yeah, we can, but I want to just get where you think this is on the embarrassment scale. So England in the 2006 Ashes, they lost to Adelaide, didn't they? When they scored 700 or something in the first innings. Is it? I don't think it's as humiliating as that. I think it's not quite a 10 on the Richter scale of humiliation.
No,
but it's high.
Yeah. Yeah, it is pretty, because you get all the bluster from the Australian commentators. That's what makes it even sweeter. So at the moment, you've got all these people who are just trying to stay relevant. Have been like, look how rubbish the pitches are. Oh, it's a disgrace. Look at the water. Look what they've done to the nets. There's always something to moan about. And yesterday, everyone was just like, oh no, this is the Australia we love. This is the Australia we love. And so that is what makes it even more delicious. Because you've got these people who just don't know when to keep their mouth shut. India today, they pulled their pants down, which I think is great. I think this is, I reckon this is a solid 9 on that scale, though.
On the humiliation scale.
It's not full. This is like some of those people should never play Test cricket again.
Yeah,
but it's bloody close.
Yeah. I think it's more humiliating than anything England have done recently. That's saying something. Raj just pointed out the Ahmedabad test with Bairstow. Do you remember that when he swept? Was he out bowled? It was a no ball. Then he did it again and was out LBW, or the other way round on the 2 dismissals. That was humiliating, but I think this really takes the cake. I mean, I think by that point in the match, England really had no hope of victory. Like Australia, they thought they were going to win. It's like I want to make that. You know that video of the I think it's a Spanish guy who's laughing uncontrollably and trying to tell a story, and people put subtitles in to describe a series of humiliating events. Someone needs to do that for this test. Just the number of sweep shots. It was I can't believe it. They've done another one.
Don't worry. There we go. Look, I've got what they've been using actually out of my wardrobe. This is today. It was absolutely fucking shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Right. Where do you want to start on the humiliation front? We should do some analysis, but go.
Oh yeah, but it's the analysis of the sweep shots, I think, Jack. Let's start with Alex Carey. Alex Carey, I think, came out of the first Test match as someone who kind of looked like he had a plan. But the evidence suggests that his plan is to play the reverse sweep shot really badly and get bowled leg stump. That seems to be his plan. And when that is one of your people who hopefully will find a bit of ballast from number 7, that's not a great place to be. Marnus Labuschagne seems to just want to play on the back foot, but not properly on the back foot, and is
playing French cricket.
Yeah. If you look at his dismissals across the 2 Test matches, you're kind of just like, Marnus, learn from your mistake. I know that we've got the mighty Jadeja, who, let's be fair, when the ball is keeping a little bit low, when the ball is turning just enough, Jadeja is really difficult to play against.
Yeah.
But you can move your feet to it. They just didn't do that. They were literally going back into their crease, being like, "Oh, the ball's not bouncing too much. I'm going to cover all my stumps, or I'm going to try and play the sweep shot." And
they only knew 2 buttons on a PlayStation game.
Yeah, exactly right. We are amateur cricketers, and even we know. Of course, we would probably get out, but we would not get out as humiliating as some of the Australians did today. For me, this was such an astounding kind of almost surrender to what was happening.
Surrender. It was meek. I think on the sweep, I think it's really interesting that this so obviously was a game plan from Australia to I think yesterday we were saying, I'd stand by this, that their approach should be to go out and be aggressive and accept that they're not going to bat for a long time, but if they can put 200 plus up, then they're going to be in a really strong position. Basically do what Travis Head did. They've obviously taken that a step further and be like, we're going to score all our runs with this. We're going to go out and attack, and we're going to score all our runs through mid wicket using the sweep. And I don't really know why they've come to that conclusion. Now I'm going to run some things past you. Generally, this is my understanding of when you play the sweep. When it's spinning a lot, so that you can get your pad outside the line, or it's going to pitch outside leg stump and you can't. But basically, it's spinning so much that LBW might be taken out of the equation.
Yeah, and you're coming down quite a long way, right? You've got the striding.
Yeah, and you can throw bounce into that as well. If you think there's a realistic chance it might bounce over the stump, so that if you do kick it, that the umpire's not going to be able to give you out. Like it's, worst case, you're going to end up being done on DRS. Like I didn't think that either of those criteria really existed. Like it was turning, but it wasn't turning square. It wasn't spinning so much that you could get your pad outside the line, or that Jadeja was pitching it outside leg stump. Like LBW and Bold were very much in play for that entire innings.
Yep.
So I'd say that's a reason not to sweep. Another reason, like this is analytically proven. When the bowling is not fast, I mean it's not fast spin bowling. I think the cut off this is about 95 kph. Then it's a good time to sweep because you can make adjustments as the ball's coming down, and I guess the ball's less likely to skid on and pin you LBW. Top edges maybe less likely to go up in the air. I don't really know why, but there is analytical data which shows if the ball is faster than 95 kilometers an hour, it is not a good idea to sweep. Now Jadeja typically does bowl faster than that. Like he's not a bowler that I would put in the sweep category. Do you remember last year? The England series, that was the big problem England had, is that they swept really well against Embal Denya in Sri Lanka, who bowls about 4 miles an hour. They absolutely plundered him. Then they went and they had to face Akshay Patel, who's bowling 100 kph, and their tactic just did not work. And like Root scored a double ton against Pai Deem, again another quite slow spinner, comes up against a quicker spinner, and the method for scoring runs doesn't work. So that's 2 criteria not met. Third one. Is when you don't know which way the ball's going to spin. I think this is typically, you see this in T20 cricket against guys with googlies. Like you see people play a lot of sweeps because they don't know which way it's going to go. You kind of did know which way it was going to go here, I think. Some were sliding on, so arguable. I mean, I don't know where you'd land on that. Would you, if you were batting, think, I don't really know where the ball's going to spin, so I'm going to get the sweep out here?
It depends on the confidence that you have, I think, sometimes. And you have to know your game.
Yeah.
They literally got Steve Smith, one of the greatest batsmen of all time.
Yeah.
Marnus Labuschagne is the #1 rated batsman in Test match cricket at the moment. Travis Head, 4th on that list. Uzi Khawaja was already out giving catching practice to KSI yesterday. So I think you need to... Yeah, you need to know your game, right? And go, right, when I'm playing against spin, this is how I'm going to try and approach it. It felt to me as if they'd had a team chat.
Yeah,
they've got all around the baggy green, and baggy green actually means we're going to sweep the ball, and that was what was coming out today. And I just think that they went away from their personal game plans on how they were going to score, and almost had like that collective mindset.
I agree, I think there are circumstances, and I've been through a few there, where going away from your personal game plan and playing the conditions to maybe sweep more work. Final one I'd say is when you need to hit the bowlers off their length. Now, if you are being, the good thing about the sweep shot is that you effectively turn a length delivery into a run scoring ball. So the bowler has to decide: am I going to keep it there and accept I might get swept, or am I not going to keep it there and then maybe bowl a bit too full, bring the drive in, maybe go a bit short, and people can play me off the back foot. I don't think that really was an option on this pitch, because everything was coming through about shin high. Like it wasn't. If they wanted to go a bit shorter, they could go a bit shorter. There was no hitting people off their length. Was not. I didn't think the way to go. I think I probably just needed to stay upright and try and hit the ball with it under your eyes. Like, why are you going all the way out there?
There's a perfect bit now where kind of they'll sit and do video analysis. The video analysis that they have to watch is literally the highlights package from how they batted versus how India batted. And as you say, like they came out and going, do you know what? There is a little bit low and slow. We need to be able to get our feet to the ball, get to the pitch of the ball, move down. You watch Kohli's innings, you watch Sharma's innings, you watch Pujara. Pujara was all literally gave a masterclass in how to do it. And then KS Barrett, who came out, who literally looks like he couldn't hit a run in the rest of the Test series, came out and smashed it into the crowd with a slog sweep. That's how you do it, boys. He should have done the mic drop celebration with the bat. That is what he should have done right there.
We've had a super chat in. Jitter says, absolutely horrendous batting by Australia. Selection questions for India. Gill for King Legend. Ishan Kishan for Bharat. Bumrah for Siraj. Your thoughts? I thought... I don't really know whether they need to change the time. I will have your thoughts, but just a reminder for everyone else on Twitter, on YouTube, If you like the show, do click subscribe. We can see we've had a few people subscribe during this show. That's great. Or like, or just leave a comment or whatever. It's all about making the algorithm think we're really good. And obviously, we are really good. We are really good. It's about telling the algorithm we're really good, though. And obviously, send us a super chat if you want. What would you change anything up if you were India after this victory?
I think typically you don't change winning sides normally, unless there is some piece around kind of injury worries and managing workloads. BCCI have come out and said they're going to try and manage the workload better of their pace bowlers. What I don't think they should do is bring Jasprit Bumrah back anytime soon. I think they should give him as much time as possible to rest and recuperate, because it's a World Cup year, right? You've got an IPL around the corner. Mumbai Indians have embarrassed themselves for long enough now. They need to get back into winning ways, and they need a Bumrah to do that. And a strong Mumbai Indians is a strong Indian cricket.
Okay, fair enough.
And then I think I would like to see Shubman Gill in the side. And now they've wrapped up the trophy, 2 tests to go. It would be good to see Gill challenged. I don't think Ishan Kishan is the right person to bring into this side. I think Bharat, he's clearly a very good gloveman. Came out today and batted the situation nicely. Whether he's going to be someone who tours particularly well, I don't know. But I don't think Kishan also sets that up either.
Yeah, I think the team's about right. Maybe Gill for King Legend is a change you could make. More India stuff. We should probably give some credit to Jadeja and Ashwin, shouldn't we? They were quite good. It takes 2 for a collapse, doesn't it? As they say, like you need Australia to come out with the world's worst game plan. And I don't know. Do they believe their own hype or not? We can go back to Australia, but you also need some quality bowling. Like it's very rare that a team collapses against bowlers who are poor. You need top quality stuff, and Jadeja and Ashwin provided it again today, didn't they?
Yeah, and it's just we're obviously going to talk about England a little while with when you've got Broad and Anderson who've taken over 1,000 wickets together. When you're on pitches like this and playing in India, like there's no other better duo that you want really than Jadeja and Ashwin. And what you saw today was just 2 like master craftsmen. I felt Jadeja wasn't kind of trying to do anything too spectacular. He was just trying to be really consistent, and that consistency, accuracy, and I don't know, also the bloody mindedness to just keep being driven and determined to do that is just really quite admirable.
He's a bit like cricket's Cristiano Ronaldo in a way, isn't he? Well, no, what I mean is like, clearly a good player and a lot of natural talent, but he really, like as you say, does seem very driven to consistently improve or maintain his performance levels. That there aren't that many players who get better year on year after they're 30, and he basically has done that. Like, was he 33, 34 now, and is playing probably the best cricket of his career. And I think you have to respect that. He might not be Cristiano. He might not be like the second greatest cricketer of all time. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that like the professionalism that Jadeja shows to be great in all 3 facets of the game is definitely to be applauded. I do think I'm never going to give a left arm spinner as much credit as a right arm spinner though. I think
He's cheating. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm basically saying that. Like, I think Ashwin is much more.
He's got it easy.
It is a bit like Ronaldo as well. He is able to rely on certain physical attributes that Ashwin, for example, let's say he's cricket's Messi or spin bowling's Messi, isn't able to rely on. Like, if you are a left arm spinner, you are by definition, well, not by definition, but like you are far less likely to have as developed a set of skills as a right arm off spinner, because you just don't need them. Like, you just naturally spin the ball away from right-handed batters, and that's enough. Like, you can go a long way just with that. Now, Jadeja has added obviously like the ability to bowl quickly for a spinner, and the ability to land it on a dime, and to have all this control, and he can bat and he can field, and that is great. Like, that's he makes him Cristiano Ronaldo spin. But Ashwin has had to develop a carom ball and like variations of releases so that the ball spins different amounts, and like all these different things. And so I'm saying Ashwin is, I don't think this is news to anyone really, but more skillful than Jadeja. They might be. I think that as a duo, they might be the 2 best home bowlers we've seen maybe ever. I think in the game, just as like a McGrath and Warne in Australia were pretty good, but
yeah,
these
Anderson
two are
and Broad
good.
in England are pretty good.
But England, I don't know if they're like this good.
But Anderson, I think, is definitely in that conversation. But,
Do you? Like,
but that's why I'm more of an England fan than you are.
Yeah.
But there is a bit where I think if you were to take
Clouderson.
a viewpoint, if you were to take a viewpoint across cricket, Anderson is definitely in that conversation. Going, who are the bowlers? So if we were to think around, who are the bowlers you'd least like to face in their home country? Jimmy Anderson is number one on that list in England.
In England, but in the world, I would be saying Ashwin and Jadeja are in India.
But that's fine. It's just that piece of going. Yeah, in India it is Ashwin and Jadeja. Fine. In South Africa, Norkia. I would like to say it'd probably be Sean Pollock historically is probably or Dale Steyn. As you say, in Australia it's going to be McGrath and Shane Warne, Muralitharan for. I'm just saying that I'm the best players now.
No, but that is true. Like if you are, if you're great at home, you're likely to be one of the best players. I think that's fair. Just an interesting discussion, maybe one we can elaborate on some other time. Right, what do we want to do? We can carry on talking about Australia. We wanted to touch upon England, didn't we? And India v England in the women's T20 yesterday. Should we take a little pause and then we'll come back because there's some there's some potential overreaction from Australia that I think we need to discuss. Sound good to you?
Yeah, that sounds great. We'll be back in 30 seconds?
Yeah.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast, where we're laughing at Australia, and we'll continue to laugh at Australia. Ross, I've heard two theories going around. Yeah, and when I say heard, these are crazy people on Twitter, but I think we need to discuss them and really go deep on this. First crazy theory is that they may send the Cum Dog home for the final two tests to rest and recuperate. I don't really know what for. I guess the Ashes. He's not going to the IPL. This seems like a crazy theory, and leave Stark as like the only pacer for the last two matches now that Australia can't win the series. I mean, that would be taking.
That's the equivalent.
We said this was a 9 out of 10 humiliation. If the captain goes home halfway through a series that they could still draw, like that makes it a 10. I reckon. Like if that happened, I would be blown away.
That has to be one of the dumbest things I've heard. Like, that is literally turning up to play kick around football and getting annoyed that you've lost, you're 2-0 down in the game, and picking up your ball and sodding off home. That is the equivalent to that. That is an embarrassing thing. If that happens, that is. There is no other beast. Then what we've said on the podcast is that Australia's lineup they've been bullies, right? They've been bullies at home. They've not travelled particularly. In the last few years, they come out after COVID a little bit, but that would be absolutely monumentally mental disintegration on their behalf.
Warner obviously potentially out the series with a fractured elbow. I think that's more realistic that Warner doesn't play any further part in the series.
Yeah,
that could open the door for another batter to come in. Big Show Glenn Maxwell. What would you say to that?
Well, the fact that he is still recovering from his snapped leg, I reckon that is
he's
not going to happen.
He's going to play in the Shield apparently this week. So
is he?
He's back at least. Yeah, I mean, if you're playing a Shield game, then that means you can play 4-day cricket. That's a day more than you need to play in India. Like, he's definitely fit enough. Well, I mean, if he's in shape, would you? I mean, he's got a ton in India. Can bowl. Surely he's going to be more productive than Matt Renshaw over the next two tests. Would you not pull the Maxwell trigger?
Yeah, I think Renshaw it's all she wrote. Unfortunately, like you got drafted in here, especially in the last game because you're good against spin and have got no runs whatsoever. So that's a failure. I think Travis Head opening up is a kind of it's good in this scenario. I think it works quite nicely with Khawaja, but yeah, Maxwell. I think it's too soon. I think it's too soon.
Okay, that's fair. I actually would potentially pull the trigger on that. I think if I was Australia, I think he's a good player of spin.
Aggressive.
We don't know. I mean, now India have got. I think did they need to win 2 matches to make the World Test Championship final, or barring freak results, they're basically there. So maybe India will prepare some more Australian friendly wickets than the last 2.
Well, Chattel's put in the chat. Maxwell on one leg will be better than most of these guys, and that's probably fair. That is probably fair.
Yeah, so I think there's some potential there. We had another super chat in, didn't we, from Prince Bazball Challenge India and India. What do you think? This is to the Maxwell point. I think that might be the best way for Australia to go, is to like Travis Head did nearly pull it off. Let's put the sweep away, maybe, lads, or like at least if you don't know how to play it, put the sweep away. But the 2 best spells of batting Australia have had in the series, both in this Test match, were Head last night and Uzi on the first morning, and they were both aggressive. And Maxwell fits that mould. You're a bit of a hiding to nothing. We are talking about things which are like it's putting lipstick on a pig to an extent, isn't it? Like it's not.
I also Paul in the chat has said around Cameron Green should play.
Yeah,
like bringing in 2 meter Peter to play this when the ball is not bouncing that far. Like that's going to be a dangerous game. I think it's a dangerous game. He's going to need to get a bigger bat, a longer bat,
an oar. Like it could maybe go out with that. So there's some things they could change there. We will see. Right, other topics, Ross. Actually, not quite other topics. So the last thing I wanted to say on Australia is that actually, it's always good to get the boot in. Yeah, they've only won 6 tests away from home, I think, in 6 years.
Yeah, but because they literally were scared to get on a plane. They literally were just like, so.
I still think that's quite shocking. They won obviously 2 against England. Yeah, that was in the Root era, donating wins around the world. They've won, I think, once in Sri Lanka, once in India, and once in Bangladesh, and once in South Africa. Over that period, they've won 1 series. That one in Pakistan on the roads. They're just really not a good touring team, are they? This is the nadir in terms of humiliating performances, but it's not necessarily a surprise that they find themselves 2-0 down and quite comprehensively outplayed, I think, here. In a scenario where we see these 2 in the World Test Championship final, who'd you back at the Oval?
That is a tough one. So we think of like who Australia are missing at the moment. So obviously Josh Hazlewood is a ridiculously good bowler. Stark in those conditions is good. Cummings has he's had his wings clipped a little bit in India, but he is a phenomenal bowler. Like, as much as this is humiliating, Pat Cummins is the best pace bowler on the planet, other than Bumrah, I think, in kind of full edge, but Cummins offers more with a bat unless Stuart Broad is bowling to him. So that's a big boon, and I also think that the batting has got more questions probably for India in those conditions. Like Pujara has historically not done brilliantly. He's still done reasonably okay.
I think he got 80 at the Oval last year, didn't he?
And it's a nice place to bat. I think it would be a really, really interesting Test match, actually, that one. So yeah, I don't know. Can I say a draw?
You can say a draw if you want to. I think it's 6 days, so it would be pretty boring. I think Australia would have a slight edge. I don't know what team India would select. Whether they would go, they might not pick Ashwin, for example. I think that would probably be a mistake, and I think that was a mistake when they didn't pick him against England. Even though they managed to get a 2-2 draw because England are terrible. Or were terrible, now we're good. I think maybe in English conditions, Australia have got just a slightly better rounded attack as well. I think it'd be an interesting. I think if that's what we see, I think that would be quite an interesting shootout for the trophy.
Because there was also a bit there, Jack. People still do it. People still underestimate how good the Indian paces are.
Of course.
Siraj has cleaned up England on more than one occasion. Shami has proven himself to be a very good world traveller. Bumrah again was instrumental in some of India's. And I think it's unfortunate for Ashwin that he doesn't play, but obviously the Indian fans will know against the Kiwis in that World Test Championship final at Southampton, which London E148 has put in chat, got tamed a little bit in that space. And Cameron Green would no doubt play, as Paul has said to the chat. And when Carl Jameson was playing, who's not too dissimilar in terms of the release height, it caused problems for the Indian batsmen.
It caused a lot of problems. Although India do own Australia, as we said, 9 years, I think, since Australia's last series win against them. 2 defeats at home. They're going to get battered here.
How do you think that racist fan feels in Australia? Like, he must be having a terrible day, and fuck him.
Yeah, the Aussies gave Pujara a shirt as well. Different circumstances to the Lion shirt exchange, obviously. Yeah. Right. 2 other things. England beat New Zealand. Anything to say that? We did that quite in some detail yesterday. Anderson was the destroyer on this occasion. What do you think? G asked us a question about this from Twitter. Shall I ask you that?
Yeah. Go
on. How do Bairstow get back into the side? How do they fit him in? General points, and then answer that.
Yeah, well, we talked about the Bairstow thing yesterday. I think the Zach Crawley position is the big question now in that space. They can't continue with that, so I think it's a big question mark over the next Test match if Crawley does hit those runs, and he seemingly hit runs at the right times for England. So next Test match, if he does come out and hit a blistering 80 or gets 100, then he'll obviously be in that shout. It's a good problem to have, I think, trying to fit Bairstow back into that side. But we spoke about it a little bit yesterday. I would think England might want to start opening with Joe Root, but that's probably not going to happen. And in terms of the game, like as we said yesterday, it's a bit of it's a friendly. Like, that's what it was. As a Test match, it was like a. But you still have to go and win it. But England were playing against New Zealand's second string bowling lineup, who are teaming, and I think playing day-night test. What I really liked about it was England got their tactics spot on, their game plan was spot on, and they make teams do funny things, and it's just so brilliant to watch. I'm really I can't be looking forward to the Ashes more. I need to get more tickets for the Ashes. I've only got 1 day so far, so I need to get more. So,
Cool. Well, that's good. That's a good build up for that. And the other match that we'll talk about, obviously, is England v India in the women's T20 yesterday. Started off very well for India, picked up some early wickets, got Danny Wyatt first ball, but England fought back and posted a pretty decent score in excess of 160. And then India didn't really chase it, didn't really make a serious attempt at it. I thought it was kind of an odd innings from them. They finished 150 for 5. Now I know they lost. They did lose a lot of firepower quite early in the innings. So there was a little bit of a rebuild going on, but I don't know. It was one of those T20s where they just drifted out of the game. You don't see them that often, like matches where the chasing team loses by a fairly wide margin and still has quite a lot of wickets left. What did you think?
Yeah, I think and this is going to please RCB fans, but Richard Ghosh looks like a really talented player, and I can't for the money that she went for in the Women's Premier League, looks a good talent. But again, you can't be. I think England's bowlers did really, really well, and that was the piece which I think going into this tournament to win this, their bowlers need to turn up, and here they did really, really well. Ripping out that top order is really, really important. And Mandhana of keeping things together. But when you use Verma, Rodrigues, and Harmanpreet, it's always going to be a bit of a challenge. So
yeah, it's a tough one, and it's in a way this match is just a contest to see who gets to lose to Australia first in the knockout rounds, isn't it? And that'll be India, and then England will complete the cycle in the final on this occasion. Which is good. We'll keep the group stage is progressing in that tournament. Looks like it's going to be the old favourites in the knockout rounds, and we're hoping to get some people on to talk about that. But we will see how that progresses.
Jack, I do have a message for. We've got over 850 people
Yeah.
watching this right now, which is so. Thank you for doing that. It is always staggering how many more listeners and viewers we get when India win, and thank goodness they're winning. But we literally cover the IPL in loads of detail. We're covering obviously all the Test matches that are coming up as well. So please hit subscribe and follow us at the Cricket Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And we've also got a Patreon, patreon.com/the Cricket Pod, where you get access to our Discord, which is I've been loving the Border Gavaskar Trophy. It has been what else we've got there? We've got loads of data in terms of data packs. There's a magazine out this month, Scouting Cricket, and you also get to have a chance to be on the show. And Jack Talks Cricket is another little snippet for you.
Yeah, so weekly podcast.
The latest one was on. Yeah, so you get loads and loads of content, and that's what you should do. Jack, it's been a phenomenal day of cricket. I woke up this morning with a big smile on my face. I'm going to get to go and play cricket most of the afternoon. Like, what a Sunday.
Yeah, it's been really good. I think we will wrap up the show now. I'm just quickly checking whether we had any Twitters. Any Twitter questions? We do have one, and I think it's a nice one to end on from Abby. Cummins dismissal or Carey's dismissal? Which one made you laugh more?
It was the Cummins dismissal. The cum dog was a shocker, an absolute shocker. Carey, as I said at the top of the show, literally, I thought he had a game plan when he came out, and it was coming off. And then I think they just realised again, this guy just is going to try and play the reverse sweep. Let's try and get him bowled leg stump. And 3 times. He's happened 3 times in 4 innings. That is just shocking. Yeah.
Final word then, and this will come from our title sponsor for this show, manscaped.com. Ross, is crotch discomfort hurting your game? Your cricket game?
Quite possibly. Yeah.
Well,
I'll be putting in a box today, so I can report back.
Yeah. Well, fear no more. The kings of crotch comfort, Manscaped, have spent 2 years designing the most comfortable boxer briefs out there. They are sleek, soft, comfortable, and flexible. That's good, isn't it? Yeah. The brand new Boxers 2.0 from Manscaped. Take your balls to the royal ball throne.
Nice.
That is where your balls want to go, let me tell you. The global leaders in below the waist grooming have the Lawnmower 4.0 for the trimming, so you can wear the Boxers 2.0 for the chilling. They even trademarked the dual pouch.
Ooh.
So you know it's serious. I don't know what a dual pouch is. We'll have to do a little bit more investigation into that and feedback. I think it's time you invested in your family jewels. We're happy that we have. I like my Manscaped products. So let your bowls breathe and get 20% off and free shipping by using our code cricketspod at manscaped.com. Once more, 20% off plus free shipping with the code cricketpod at manscaped.com. Up your crotch game, because once the Boxers 2.0 touch your sack, you'll never go back. That's beautiful. A great way to end the podcast. I am going to go and watch the highlights again of Australia being skittled out. It was really, really good fun. I hope everyone has a nice Sunday. I'm off to Paris on Tuesday, so I'm not around for a couple of podcasts. But Ross and Max, I'm sure will shepherd you through the upcoming cricket.
Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.